having tried, a fractional CMO, having tried an agency, having thought about doing PR probably far too early in our journey for that to be truly beneficial to us, we were eventually like, wait a second, why don't we just double down on what's already working? And what's already working is Kate and Johnny being Kate and Johnny.
It's never really occurred to me anyone would care about what I think about hiring or running a business or stuff about me and what I'm thinking. Having someone that can tell you that that's valuable and explain why, and B, push you a bit, I think is really good for actually building engagement with your audience.
It's unlocked quite a lot of traction for us, and you can see that in both quantitative and qualitative ways. I can see that we have more inbound, right? We have inbound connection requests from target customers and messages from them, and we end up booking meetings off the back of it, right? A couple per week, I would say now, across different members of the company, and that simply wasn't happening before. We have people tell us all the time when we're at events and during the sales process how much they love our LinkedIn content. And often it's from people who have never actually engaged with posts, right? So I think there's this tendency in social media marketing where you're like, it got this many likes or this many people commented on it. And that's the only success metric I give a crap about, right? But point of fact, there are tons and tons of lurkers. And a lot of times in sales, especially in B2B sales with large scale enterprise companies, you have to be seen and known by them several times before you've gained enough sort of trust and enough awareness for them to engage with you, let alone to then consider entering into a commercial deal with you. People already are starting from a different level of awareness and understanding of who we are as a business and what differentiates our business from other businesses that might seem like us. And that to me is worth everything. I no longer feel like I'm sprinting uphill.
The most valuable thing for me is the expertise in how to present your content and what sort of content you should be thinking about. It's really easy to do the video content because we just have an interview and then you edit that into something that looks cool, which is great. I just would never have the time or space to do the video content myself.
I feel that this works best when I forget that we're making content, right? And I'm just having a chat with you and I'm talking about what's important to me about my business and how I'm excited that I'm working with customers and helping them get their time back and get their lives back. And I think you're really good at getting to those sorts of motivations and passions that both Johnny and I have. So it feels more natural than me sitting down staring at a blank page or a blank screen, as it were. What I like so much about your strategy and focus, Eleanor, is that it is actually a strategic focus. I understand why, now having worked with you, of all the things in the world you could be doing with your talents and skills, you're focusing on building founder personas via LinkedIn because it works. And it's also helping the founders to step out of their comfort zones and grow themselves. And so win-win in that regard. So I think any business that's at a point in sort of like seed stage through Series A, where this kind of content could be really useful, I think it's really the perfect play. And we've tried a lot of things, and this is the thing that we've stuck with.
Welcome, Dr. Kate Jarvis and Johnny Morris, co-founders of Fifth Dimension AI, an award-winning real estate tech startup in the UK. Their flagship product, Gen AI Assistant Ellie, helps property professionals get rid of manual, repetitive, and error-prone work, whilst also amplifying human expertise. Would you mind giving us a quick overview of yourself and what do you do at Fifth Dimension AI?
Sure. Thanks for that great introduction. I'm Dr. Kate Jarvis. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Fifth Dimension AI. So I run our commercial arm of the business. And essentially my job is to make sure we never run out of money via investment and gaining new contracts, but hopefully take this to the moon, helping as many people as possible.
I'm Johnny Morris, also a co-founder and chief product officer. My responsibility is all around building the right product to make an impact and add value to our customers. So I work with our engineering team to work out exactly how we're going to deliver that sort of step change in people's work.
Could you shed light on who is your target customer and how does your product help them exactly?
We help people throughout the real estate value chain. So at the very top, large-scale multinational asset managers, through to developers, consultancies, and small scale real estate investment trusts and others who might even work in construction and engineering who are doing the very nitty gritty. So as Johnny might say, both the back office and the front office of real estate operations. And really what we're helping them do is to automate any complex document heavy workflows. So there are hundreds of thousands of documents that are injured in the making of any good building, especially mixed use ones. And so we help people get through those data, get access to them, query them in natural language as quickly as possible, and essentially refocus people back on what matters to them most about their job and what helps them differentiate their business commercially, which tends to be how they work with other people and what they're strategically focused on, what new properties they want to buy, what type of land they want to develop. And it allows them to do that with a lot more of their time rather than copying and pasting different data tables or otherwise going through literal binders full of data looking for the information that they need.
How do people use your product, first of all? And what's the kind of ACV of your product and the initial commitment that they commit with you?
Yeah, so what most people are doing is going from some sort of data extraction task, as I just described, whether that's looking through S106s at different exactions against a property that they're interested in purchasing, whether that's looking at potential ESG schemes, whether that's looking at how can I think about different comparable properties to a property that I'm currently evaluating, and then going through analyzing those data and then creating some content off the back of it. And so that end document could be anything from an investment committee memo to a piece of research to a bunch of LinkedIn posts. And it really depends on who the individual is that we're helping there, whether that person sits in a research and marketing function, whether they're investor or analyst, or whether they are managing teams of folks who are managing facilities for a retail business. So based on exactly what we're doing for them and the size and scale of their business, because we always try and make sure what we charge is in accordance with how the product is being used and how many people are using it at the business. Our annual contract values can range from anywhere from £30,000 a year to £150,000 a year. And so it's really how deep are we into that business's operations? Are they early in the stage of piloting with us and just figuring out how to use us? Or are we really deeply integrated into their business?
And what is your go-to-market strategy? And when did you decide organic social was going to be part of it?
Just a tiny question there. What is our go-to-market strategy? How did we decide on what we're doing today? Yeah, it's of course we're in early stage now. I would say we're transitioning to becoming a scale-up, but since we've been working together, we've been quite small and are scaling up operations now. So we've made a lot of mistakes and we've tried a lot of things along the way. So I think initially, of course, we were relying on Johnny's context within the industry because he's been in property for 17 years, and also our ability to be present where our customers were, right? So not only speaking at events, but being present at events where current topics that are trending, right, within the real estate industry, whether that's the flight to quality for commercial real estate, or whether it's how are we dealing with the climate crisis, our ability to talk to customers there and figure out how our product, as Johnny is saying, can help them reach their goals with those current topics du jour in mind. But over time, right, that's not super scalable. So you need to have a way that isn't just being literally in front of a customer that gets you in front of that customer on that customer's mind, right? And so often that involves some sort of combination of outbound, that is, from cold to warm, as well as some sorts of, it could be putting a billboard up, it could be thinking about how to co-brand yourself with other players in your space. And I think what we've really leaned into heavily is the idea that there's a reason why venture capitalists invested in us. And there's a reason why we got early brands on board before we were even an established business. And it's because people understand why we're the two best founders to build a product like what we've built and to sell that product to the customers that we do. And so having tried, a fractional CMO, having tried an agency, having thought about doing PR probably far too early in our journey for that to be truly beneficial to us, we were eventually like, wait a second, why don't we just double down on what's already working? And what's already working is Kate and Johnny being Kate and Johnny. So myself talking on different issues of the evolution of AI and how it can be applied to different verticals, and then a bit about the culture of building a business, what it's like to be a female CEO of a deep tech startup and in an industry that traditionally is quite male dominant, and Johnny going hard on thinking about what the product is, who it's for, and what problems we're solving for our customers, and how our customer base is changing over time. And so I think we needed to have gone through all of those other steps to get to the place where being on LinkedIn, especially being founders, being loud about being founders on LinkedIn was a critical part of our strategy. But once we did, I feel like it's unlocked quite a lot of traction for us. And you can see that in both quantitative and qualitative ways.
Amazing. When we first connected, I guess you basically did you have any hesitations going ahead with this approach and putting yourself out there more?
I mean, neither of us like it.
Yeah, it's definitely a threat, right?
You've met us. We're not like default sort of outgoing people. Yeah. We're introverts, but we also signed up for this wild roller coaster of a journey that's building a venture capital-backed business. And I think one of the reasons why we appreciate each other's role so much in the business is that we're always up for trying anything to see if it might work, if this is going to be the thing that's going to help fifth dimension AI get to the next level. And so neither of us enjoyed it. I still can't say that I do enjoy being out there with how I think and feel, but I think it's a healthy challenge for both of us. And I have seen how it contributes to our internal culture and our internal discussion. So one of the things I think about a lot now is that being on the record, talking about what our values are as a company and what our culture is like and who we're hoping to hire and how we're affecting our customers. It's not as if I didn't believe those things when I was saying them, but knowing that they exist in the world, it becomes a sort of social contract, right? And I will come to Johnny and be like, oh, wow, like we talk a lot about own it and being our first value. I don't feel like I'm owning it right now, and I feel particularly bad about it because my face is all over the internet saying it. So I think it actually creates a kind of virtuous cycle as well, where I feel extra accountable as a leader and as a business owner to what we're putting out in the world. So it still makes my skin crawl a little bit, and I think we both are very not fans of self-promotion, but it has a role in every business. And again, there's a reason why we're the right people to be building this business. And we're both very comfortable in that fact. We just rather be behind the scenes, like quietly growing a multinational billion-pound business without having to talk about it much.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it helps to have a partner on board to do all this for you, so you don't have to go on LinkedIn and click post. You don't have to like fully. You can. So basically, the process that we use is we have content sessions, content interviews, and I ask you these specific questions that I have a post in mind that it will create. I kind of write the first draft, and you review the content and make sure it sounds like you, make sure you agree with what it's being said. I guess having that partner on board who takes care of that process makes it easier to be out there posting 2-3 times a week than if you had to do it yourself, because you'd probably be like, I don't really want to put myself out there.
Yeah, we absolutely wouldn't. I mean, that's why we hired you, is we kept setting a goal for ourselves that we would do it a certain number of times per week and kept not meeting that goal, like very obviously. So you've saved us in that way. And I also think that certainly I feel best at, and maybe this is true from correlation and engagement with posts, but I feel that this works best when I forget that we're making content, right? And I'm just having a chat with you, and I'm talking about what's important to me about my business and how I'm excited that I'm working with customers and helping them get their time back and get their lives back. And I think you're really good at getting to those sorts of motivations and passions that both Johnny and I have. So it feels more natural than me sitting down staring at a blank page or a blank screen, as it were.
Interesting. Yeah, super interesting feedback in terms of the results that you were getting just from doing company page content, because I think a lot of startups are doing that right now.
I think it was like 3 months maybe. We had fairly regular company content, like a few posts a week, like probably at least 3. I mean, it didn't really get any traction. it was useful for showing people that our business existed because that's the thing people do. You speak to them, they go and look on LinkedIn to make sure there's some signs of life in your business. We did initially put all of our effort into the company page. It just didn't really get much engagement, didn't really have much activity. There definitely wasn't the payoff we were looking for. The put your eggs in the company page experiment was definitely had a negative result. Like, yes.
Okay, sure. In terms of the whole process of working together, the content sessions that we have, the reviewing process, quality of writing, how have you found all of that so far?
So great. I think the most valuable thing for me is probably the expertise in how to present your content and what sort of content you should be thinking about, particularly as that is a push for me. It's really easy to do the video content because we just have an interview and then you edit that into something that looks cool, which is great. I just would never have the time or space to do the video content myself. I assume it's one of those things, once you're set up to do it regularly and quickly, it's very fast, but there's a long journey to get there. But I think with the kind of pushing, what kind of content you're happy posting, I guess it's never really occurred to me anyone would care about what I think about like hiring or running a business or general bits of kind of stuff about me and what I'm thinking. And that's some of the content the most engagement. And I guess having someone that can A, tell you that that's valuable and explain why, and B, push you a bit, I think is really good for actually building engagement with your audience, which is the point, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think even I could have convinced you to post that birthday post. Like, that's still, having known you for 7 years or whatever, you'd have been like, nah, I'm not doing that. And I would have just accepted it and moved on because I have no expertise in this, right? But I would have had some intuition that people would have liked it. And so, yeah, and people absolutely loved it, right?
I'm even getting used to it. The birthday post, there wasn't even that much resistance.
Amazing. And in terms of the results and the benefits that you've seen since starting 4 months ago, what are the main things that you say is like the main benefit of having this approach and the results?
It's not just one thing for me, I think. I can see that we have more inbound, right? We have inbound connection requests from target customers and messages from them. And we end up booking meetings off the back of it, right? A couple per week, I would say now, across different members of the company. And that simply wasn't happening before. And in addition to that, this is a bit more on the feeling side, but it definitely is there. We have people tell us all the time when we're at events and during the sales process how much they love our LinkedIn content. And often it's from people who have never actually engaged with posts, right? So I think there's this tendency in social media marketing where you're like, it got this many likes or this many people commented on it. And that's the only success metric I give a crap about, right? But point of fact, there are tons and tons of lurkers. And a lot of times in sales, especially in B2B sales with large scale enterprise companies, you have to be seen and known by them several times before you've gained enough sort of trust and enough awareness for them to engage with you, let alone to then consider entering into a commercial deal with you. And so it's become very apparent to me that the sort of cumulative effort there across Johnny and I and others at our business has given us enough credence and has allowed people to get familiar enough with who we are, what we do, and what we believe that the sales process, maybe it's not, amazingly quicker, right? It goes from being 6 months to 2 months magically, but it feels easier, right? Because people already are starting from a different level of awareness and understanding of who we are as a business and what differentiates our business from other businesses that might seem like us. And that to me is worth everything, right? Because I'm having a bunch of those conversations and there's this thing that I can't quite articulate where I no longer feel like I'm sprinting uphill And part of that is about how much work Johnny and the team have done in developing the product and in achieving product market fit. But part of it is also that you've kind of you've leveled the gradient for us because people are starting already with some knowledge about who we are and what the business is about.
In terms of in-person content shoots, so we've met in person as well. I've come to the office, shot some videos of you, got some photography of the team at events as well. How have you found that process and kind of the quality of content produced?
Well, we can think of one recent example, right? That's smashing it out of the park right now. So you helped us do the Vox boxes with our customers at a recent customer event. And I think just a simple question from one of our team to different customers of what's exciting you in the industry right now. But all of the setup surrounding that, the way in which it was shot, the way in which it was edited, and the way in which the post was presented, to Johnny's point about your expertise on what gets people's attention and what doesn't. Like, I wouldn't doubt that we're going to close some deals off of that, and we're already seeing a lot of engagement from it. But I am an immediate person, and so I'm just like, oh, here's a recent thing that I can attach to about what you asked. So Johnny has probably something more intelligent to say.
No, I think that's a good example. I'd just say you've generally made it very easy, and the quality, I guess. Not only have we got great content for LinkedIn, but we've generally, because you've come in and done some in-person shoots and us doing stuff in the office, we've got really useful like imagery for other parts of the business, like the careers website. We've definitely avoided having to do a couple of formal photo shoots, which is a plus.
Absolutely amazing. So to wrap up, would you recommend Social First? Would you recommend us for other founders? And in your opinion, what type of founders or what type of businesses would benefit from this approach?
Hell yes. I already have, and I continue to. So I have a couple more founders who I know are going to be back at their desks in September that I want to make an intro for you. But I think this is what I like so much about your strategy and focus, Eleanor, is that it is actually a strategic focus. I understand why, now having worked with you, of all the things in the world you could be doing with your talents and skills, you're focusing on building founder personas via LinkedIn because it works. And it's also helping the founders to step out of their comfort zones and grow themselves. And so win-win in that regard. So I think any business that's at a point in sort of like seed stage through Series A, where this kind of content could be really useful and it's really cost effective versus working with a large agency, and you get the kind of personalized attention that you wouldn't, right, from a different sort of supplier. I think it's really the perfect play. And again, like we've tried a lot of things, and this is the thing that we've stuck with.
Thank you. Well, thanks a lot for your time. Thank you for your kind words. And looking forward to continuing to work together.